Welcome to the Touch MBA Admissions Podcast. Do you need help figuring out which schools to apply to or how to get into the world's top MBA programs? Hey, you're not alone. Join thousands of others on this podcast and on our site, touchmba.com, as they seek the admissions edge. And now, here's your host, Darren Joe.
Hey guys, welcome to the Touch MBA podcast, where we are all about helping you find and get into the world's best MBA programs. This week, I'm going to switch it up a bit and talk about something that's very personal to me and that I'm very passionate about. And that is, are MBAs worth it if you don't go to the top 3 schools? The other day, I came across an article where the Columbia Business School dean basically said that, and I'm paraphrasing him, that it's not worth it to get an MBA unless you go to the top 4 or 5 schools. In fact, he said, if I were to advise my son, I would give him these 4 names, and that would be it. And this is a very common argument I hear, is that an MBA is so expensive. It's not worth it unless I go to a Harvard, Stanford, or Wharton, or one of the top 7 schools in the US. First, I want to say, it's true that getting a top 7 MBA is necessary for certain career paths. If you want to be recruited by the top management consulting, top finance firms, graduating from a top 7 program will definitely help you and might even be necessary. So I definitely agree with that. But there's a lot of people that don't want to work for the top firms in those industries. And I think those people tend to get swept up in this whole argument of you have to go to a top 3 school or it's just not worth getting an MBA. And if 80% of applicants think this way, you'll be a part of the 20% of applicants that can find some truly amazing educational and life experiences. And I think that this opens a lot of arbitrage opportunities in the MBA application space. Of course, we all know that arbitrage means the simultaneous buying and selling of securities, currency, or commodities in different markets in order to take advantage of differing prices for the same asset. And I think this concept of arbitrage can be applied to the MBA world. The important thing here is that everyone wants to negotiate up. You want to get into an exclusive MBA program. You want to get into an MBA program that's a bit out of your range, then that you can be proud of. So the key here in negotiating up is putting value on things that are important to you. For some people, ranking and prestige is the most important part of getting an MBA. But for others, the educational experience, the life experience, the cost, the return on investment, the scholarship opportunities, the size of the program, the time of the program, all these things might be more important than ranking for many applicants. So you have to be confident and stand with what you really value, and you can find some amazing arbitrage opportunities. So what are the top 5 MBA arbitrage opportunities for 2014? The first one is cost. Did you know that you could go to the top business program in Japan for $8,000 a year? That's at Hitotsubashi ICS. Or you could pay $40,000 of tuition, US dollars, to attend Singapore's top-ranked MBA program at NUS. Or for $60,000 US dollars, you could go to HEC Paris in France, or even the Erasmus Rotterdam School of Management in the Netherlands, both, top 30 ranked schools in the world. So you could pay much less, you could pay half or even much less than half of the tuition you'd pay at a top US school to get a world-class business education. Another opportunity in terms of cost here is taking advantage of exchange relationships that these schools have. So I always tell Vietnamese candidates here, because they're rightfully concerned about the cost of tuition at the top US schools, why don't you go to a top program in Asia, say like the Hitotsubashi ICS program that has a number of scholarships for candidates from Southeast Asia, only cost $8,000 for tuition, and has exchange opportunities with schools like University of Virginia Darden or UCLA Anderson School or NYU Stern. You can pay $8,000 and also spend one semester at these top schools in the US, and you can, write on your resume that I did my exchange at University of Virginia Darden. That is a great MBA arbitrage, in my opinion. Or even if you go to a top school in Europe, that's half the cost of a program in the US. You can also have these arbitrage exchange relationships. And finally, what about arbitraging scholarship opportunities? So a school like CEIBS, which is the top ranked school in China, is offering 12 million renminbi worth of scholarships to next year's incoming class. That's crazy. That means that they're going to award 70 out of 200 students who will join next year. They will give them scholarships ranging from 30 to 100% of their tuition. And CEIBS is attracting the best and the brightest from China who want to stay in China to get their business education. So this is just a tremendous scholarship opportunity that if you did some research, you could qualify for. Finally, a 740 GMAT and a 3.6 GPA could be average at a school like Stanford, but that could put you in the top percent academically at many other programs in the US, Asia, or in Europe. So you would give yourself the best chance of winning a scholarship based on merit with that sort of profile. So again, another opportunity to arbitrage costs when you're looking at MBA programs. Second arbitrage opportunity is in admissions. And I truly believe that there's a golden window for Westerners who are applying to the elite MBA programs in Asia, because the Asian MBA programs are just coming up to the forefront and they're looking to build international classes. They want their students to get an international business education experience. And right now, most of their candidates still come from Asia. So it is relatively easier for you as a Westerner from Canada, from the US, to get into these programs than it is for, say, a local Indian person or a local Chinese person or a local Singaporean. This is a great way, if you're forward thinking and you really believe that the business world is shifting towards the East, to get into one of these elite schools that has a long history, that has great prestige in the region, that has a broad and deep alumni base, for you to just get plugged in to that region quickly. So whether you go to ISB in India, or you go to CEIBS in China, or you go to a program like HKUST or CUHK in Hong Kong, these are great opportunities to get into these prestigious schools while it's still relatively easier. And the same thing applies to Asian candidates applying to top programs in, say, Europe. Because so many Asian candidates want to go to the US to study that a lot of top European programs are looking for more Asian candidates. So arbitraging the admissions game is another interesting opportunity. The third arbitrage is getting a joint or dual degree. Let's say that you, again, want to establish a beachhead in Asia and really build your network out in the region. Well, why not think about a program like the S3 Asia MBA, in which you get 2 degrees from either NUS Business School, Korea University Business School, or Fudan University School of Management. And you get to spend 1 semester each in Shanghai, Seoul, and Singapore. That costs $48,000 to get 2 degrees from prestigious universities in those countries. Or let's say you want to get a very global education and you still want to get a big US brand name. Well, what about going to a school like IE in Spain, which is a 1-year program, super international, over 80 nationalities in that class. Go there for your first year and then follow that up by getting a master's in science and management from MIT or a master's of advanced management from Yale. So for the same price as say a Harvard MBA, you could get 2 degrees from IE and MIT. So that's another way you can arbitrage by getting these joint or dual degrees. And of course, there's lots of degrees where you could get, say, an MBA and a master's in financial management, and an MBA and a master's in law and diplomacy, or an MBA and a master's in public policy for relatively cheaper. You can combine those degrees and double your networks there. A fourth arbitrage you can think about is life experience. right? For some people, yes, ranking and prestige is critical, right? But for others, they see their MBA as a chance to live somewhere they've never been, explore a culture and a business culture that they've never seen before. So why not look at a program like the HKU MBA, where you spend 1 month in Beijing, 9 months in Hong Kong, and have the choice to spend either 4 months in London at the London Business School, 4 months in New York at Columbia Business School, or 4 months in Shanghai at Fudan School of Management. And this is for $60,000. You can get a truly global experience through that program, and with some big brand names as well. Or let's say that you're living in Vietnam and you want to upgrade your salary potential. Well, you don't have to go to the US to do that. You could look at other places like Hong Kong or Singapore. For example, in Hong Kong, after you get your degree, you have 12 months to look for a job there. And of course, salaries are relatively higher in Hong Kong than in Vietnam. Or in Germany, after you graduate from a school like, say, ESMT, which offers 3 months of free intensive German language training with your MBA degree, you have 18 months to find a job. You can really arbitrage life experience opportunities at other MBA programs for much less cost, or that could set you up for more opportunities later in your life and career if you're thinking of, say, immigrating to Germany or immigrating to Hong Kong or Singapore. And finally, one last arbitrage opportunity is time. Why not think about taking a 1-year MBA? You have less debt coming out of the program. Your ROI is higher, at least in the short and immediate term. I mean, if you look at the Financial Times value for money rank and you look at the top 20 programs there, they're all 1 year. So this is something that's could be potentially very important for you to get a quick return on your investment. Or how about looking at programs that give you the flexibility to choose how long you want to stay there? So as you know, the top 5 programs, the top 3 programs in the US are all 2-year programs. Well, what about going to LBS in London, where you can stay there for 15, 18, or 21 months? Or ESADE Business School in Barcelona, where you can stay for 12, 15, or 18 months. Say a great career opportunity comes your way and you can't pass it up. Well, you don't have to drop out of school to do it. You can finish your degree in 12 months and take that job. So I think these are 5 ways to arbitrage the MBA application process: through cost, through admissions, through joint or dual degrees, through valuing life experiences that might be more important to you than prestige, and by valuing, of course, your time and your return on investment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. I think that you have to be quite forward-thinking to pick up an asset like an MBA program that could be potentially undervalued right now, but in 10 years could be worth a lot. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thanks for listening to the Touch MBA podcast. Don't be shy. We have a mailing list. Go to touchmba.com and get yourself signed up. And we'll keep you posted with the best tips and insider interviews on how to get into your #1 school. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at Touch MBA. See you soon.